Hello, just checking that this works. Hello, just checking that this works. Hi, Aaron. What's up, bro?
Hey, I just saw your missed call. I'm sure you're getting ready for your session.
Yeah, getting ready. Can't talk. Lots of love. So,
Bye.
bye. Aaron, what's up, bro?
Hey, I just saw your missed call. I'm sure you're getting ready for your session.
Yeah, getting ready. Can't talk. Lots of love. So, bye.
Just checking if the sound is working. Just testing the sound right now. Hmm?
Would you like to look at it if you put it on and look on what it looks like?
Yeah.
If I see anything.
Yeah, you can WhatsApp me if you want. Thanks, babe. But from now on, I'm in. Okay guys, for those of you that are in the stream right now, I'm just doing a few last little technical things in the 5 minutes we have. If you can in the chat, nice to see you Kate and Go Bundu, it does echo. Is it still echoing? If we could get an update on that, please guys. Figuring this out. Hi guys, just checking if you can still hear me. Just checking if anyone can hear me in the chat, if you could just let me know. Still echoes. Sorry about that. Okay. Are you hearing echoes? No, not from there. Just test again. I've got the laptop which I've muted, and then I've got the camera which I'm using. Just WhatsApp me, bro. Frozen. Okay, hopefully that's better. I'm going to check that the audio is still coming through. Okay, so I think we're about ready to start. I apologize for the lagging and or sound that might slightly echo. I've got people on WhatsApp sending me updates. Just checking the last people that are coming into the stream before we start. Apparently it's still echoing, I'm not sure. Hopefully it'll improve. Thanks for the feedback, Gobundu. Okay. Okay, guys, well, let's start. Welcome to this week in Digital Parenting with me, Josh Ramsey. I have been interested in digital wellness for a long while, as I've been through my own reconfiguration of my relationship with digital media. And it was through that personal journey of changing my relationship with media that I met Kate Farina, whose vision it was to start Be in Touch. So what we would like to do in these Monday sessions is really give an opportunity for live dialogue and interaction back and forth between Be in Touch and the resources and information that we've gathered and you, the parents, because unless we are serving the issues that you're having a problem with, what we're doing doesn't really matter. So I'd really encourage you to make this a staple part of your week. Every Monday you check in with us and you feed us questions that you need answers to, and we'll do our best to get you the answers. So the number one, so the format of these sessions is that it's 30 minutes in which 15 minutes will be where we summarize the top 3 big ideas that we've seen in the digital wellness space, particularly about digital parenting and now remote learning with everyone that is obviously at home doing remote learning. So the first 15 minutes we'll be giving you these 3 big ideas and taking some feedback from you, and then really we just want to open it up to your questions and understand how we can best serve you. So without too much rigmarole, let's jump into this week's 3 big ideas. And really that starts with our number 1 resource download that is available. I've got to get my fingers correct here. It's that way. So on that side of the screen right now, you'll see something that says free resource downloads. If you're watching in YouTube or another platform like Facebook, be sure to head over to www.beintouch.org.coza/live. And on that page, you will see all the free downloads on my left, or below me if you're on mobile. And the resource we're going to have a quick look at is the 8 steps to digital parenting. And what I really like about this resource is that it's quite simple to understand and to use. And I think that is obviously crucial given the times that we're in. So I'm just going to pull it up so that you can see it a little bit clearer. And if you could click on that link now and get to it, then you would obviously have more of an idea. Sorry, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I just want to get it in the same space. Okay, so if you have a look at the 8 steps to digital parenting checklist, which is on the screen now, we're going to just talk through some of the big ideas here. Maybe we'll start with the first 3 and see where we go. The number one piece of advice that we'd want to give is that really doing anything is better than nothing. And if you as a parent can simply consider the ways in which screens exist in your home, in terms of the exposure that children have to them, your own relationship to your screen, and that's really what this first point is about, is that unless you're aware of how you're using your screen and the issues that you're having, it's going to be very difficult to convey that information to them in a way that they really believe and understand. Because if you're not practicing what you preach, they're not likely to follow suit. So the second one, and this is a really big talking point, and maybe that's just what we'll cover today for a start, and we'll do more tonight in the next session. But number 2 is creating a digital family alliance. And really what this is about being clear with yourselves and your family as to what the boundaries and limitations are that exist in your home. And this is really that children really struggle to understand consequences if they haven't had a boundary drawn up before they break those consequences. So I know in this current climate where lockdown is keeping us all in homes, that the limits that you place may be kind of extraordinary given the times we're in, and it's important that parents feel okay about that, whilst at the same time trying their best to balance what is too much and what is detrimental. So in terms of creating a digital family alliance, again, on the resource page that I pointed out on this live stream page, have a look there for the resource download, the Digital Family Alliance, where you can look at structures and ways in which you can set up this agreement in your home space. And I think some of the best ways in which I've helped other parents out there is obviously with the practicality of this. And for example, I was talking to one parent recently who was looking for arguments that she could take to her 12-year-old child to help him take it a bit easier on her in his reactions to her limits on gaming and screen time. And so I think it's important that as a foundational approach, you help your children understand the difference between fun screen time and functional screen time. And really that if they are using their screens for function, that doesn't count the same as this fun, purely entertainment use of the screen. And again, going back to the first point on modeling your screen time behavior with your children, is for you to explain to them what you're doing so that mom or dad is on the phone working on their work things and not just scrolling aimlessly through some social media. And another argument that she was really happy to hear is that we need to help our children understand that the ways and the screens that they use have different impacts on them. And as we're talking to quite a big audience of parents right now, I'm not sure what age your children are. And I want to teach you just one way in which you can explain this to your children. It's more geared towards children between the ages of 4 to maybe 10. But depending on where your child is, I want you, if you stay only for a few more minutes, to get something quite practical out of this session. So I'd like you to raise your hand with me, and I'm going to teach you a way to teach your child about how their brains work. So if you take your thumb and you bring it across your palm, this represents your feeling brain, and you can tell your child it's your feeling brain, it's deep inside your head. And if you bring your fingers down the top, this front here represents your thinking brain. Now you can imagine that it's in your head this way with your forehead going forward. And this, for those that are interested, is the prefrontal cortex over here. But don't confuse your child with that. What you need to tell your child is that if we feed our feeling brain and fun screens, particularly screens that are showing us, intense games like Fortnite, anything that's survival-based, that's causing the release of adrenaline or dopamine, anything like that is going to feed our feeling brain, and our feeling brain is going to get bigger. So you want to tell your kids that you ask them to feel how well they can hold their thumb with their fingers. They can hold it, it's really tight, it's nice and tight. And that when they start to feed their feeling brains with all of this screen time that is very entertaining, very fun, we're talking about, as I said, the kind of hormonal inducing screens, then get them to take their hand and slip their other hand around their thumb. And in essence, what you're doing is you're showing them that all that screen time is growing their feeling brain. And now ask them, can you hold onto your thumb? And they will try like this, and they will say, no, it's not that easy to hold on to my feeling brain. And then you can bring them the teaching piece that if you only spend screen time developing your feeling brain, your thinking brain has less control, and it becomes unbalanced and easy to flip your lid. So flipping your lid is a great way to get them to think about times that they've lost control of their feeling brain. And really, that's a simple way if you've got a child between 4 and 10. But again, you can even use it with teenagers when you're in the crazy boundary establishment moment, and you can say, listen, do you understand the implications for your brain? Let me talk to you about it. And I really want to encourage parents out there to use logic, to really engage your child's logic and say to them, what do you want to use the screen for? Why do you think you deserve a phone? And engage with them, especially as they get to their more teenage years, where you can just logically engage with them and say, here are my reasons why I don't think you need a phone right now. What are your reasons? And let's examine them and let's get to the bottom of it. It's very important that parents approach their limitation setting with their children in a way that is authoritative but not autocratic. So what that means is that come across to your parents in your full power and responsibility as a parent, and it's your license to parent. You have to keep this child safe, and their social connectivity does not come before your need to make sure that they are safe. So that's the context that you frame it in, and you bring that across very authoritatively, because you are the head of the household and you do provide for everything that they exist on, but not autocratically, especially with adolescents, where if you just lay down the law and this is how it is, you're going to get natural pushback. And the reason for that is that adolescents are naturally inclined to push against authority. It's how they individuate. It's an important part of their development. However, if you come up against that head to head, you're going to find yourself in a very combative, emotionally charged environment. And so, to avoid that, we're really wanting these discussions to happen in a calm manner. And as a parent, you can tell your child that unless they can make it through the conversation without becoming hysterically emotional and angry and all the other things that they can become, that you're not willing to engage on this negotiation. And it's important that they understand that they are negotiating, and that for you as a parent to understand that your ability to help them develop the skill of negotiation and critical thinking and creating an argument is going to help them as they grow older and move out into the world. So I hope that this small idea in the first 15 minutes of this live stream, that number one, you should be mindful of your own use of screen time so that you set a good example for your children. Number two, you need to create a digital family alliance. That means write down what your agreements are. What days can you use this device? Where in the house can you use this device? For what can you use this device? And number three, make sure that that conversation happens with you as a trusted, calm, and sensible authority, and not a screaming, emotional, autocratic ruler of your household. Engage your children in a conversation, help them to understand why you're putting these limitations in place, and also help them to understand that they're in exceptional circumstances right now. So those are our three big ideas this week. Number one, be mindful of your own screen time use. Number two, create some form of agreement, either verbal or written. Obviously, we've got the written template in the download next to the screen, that side. And number three, ensure that you're coming from a place of authority and not autocratic rule. Okay. We're really excited about bringing a space to social media where this conversation can continue. There's obviously a lot of information out there, and I've sat through quite long webinars from some of the other content providers in South Africa. And at Be in Touch, we really want to do it differently. We want to have this kind of family engagement. So, sorry, not family, familiar engagement, and this live back and forth. So I'm going to check if any questions have come through via WhatsApp, because I'm monitoring that, and any emails as well. It looks like there's a question here around the impact on children of this current lockdown. And this really came home to me. Full disclaimer, I have no children of my own. The value that I bring to this conversation is that I talk to a lot of different parents, and I talk to a lot of different kids as well. So my role in helping you as a parent in this practical digital parenting is that I can bring you a bunch of information. But I'm very clear that I don't know what it's like to raise a child and have all the pressures, especially with remote work that are going on now. I'm broadcasting from a very quiet room where no children are breathing down my neck. So I just want to disclaim that I'm not a parent, though I have always had a love for education and for families and for children, and that's why I'm involved here. And the point that I want to bring up here is really for us to have quite a deep level of compassion as adults for our children. I was speaking with a friend of mine recently, and he was telling me the impact on his child when he told her that lockdown wasn't over, that on Thursday we're not just going back to normal and school's not reopening. And, she'd built up a timeline around her resilience to what we're all experiencing. And it was only when she realized that she wouldn't be able to see her friends and socialize in the way that she'd expected it, and it actually caused quite an emotional response. And I think as parents we need to just understand the importance of social connection for our children, especially any child really, but our adolescents are between 10 to 14, 15 years old. They really need that social connection. So finding a way that you can help them connect with their peers in a safe way, and this is really crucial, is that helping your child understand that in any online space they're in, if an unsupervised adult has access to the place in which they are meeting, whether it's a games chat room, whether it's an open mic on a game server, whether it's a house party room that's unlocked, or any one of the other platforms that are now available for social connection, if there is no guarantee that once those friends are in a room together and it can be locked and secured, your child really has no place being there. And it's important to understand is that though they have this need for social connection, you as a parent have a license, and your license to parent dictates that you must prioritize your child's safety over their need for connection. And there are a lot of ways in which children can connect socially in a safe way, and we will make those, what we found out about it, available on our website in the days to come. And that was one key piece that I think parents need to understand in terms of helping having compassion for their kids. Okay, I'm just going to see if we've had any other questions come in. Yeah, so I think I've got a question coming in from a mum. With lockdown, my 10-year-old has been playing online games with a friend. They play Roblox, Fortnite. While they play online, they have each other on a WhatsApp call. Is this a form of playing with friends? How much of this time should be allowed? So, first off, to this parent, this mum, well done. That's a really great solution, and that's exactly why we want this live stream to be a weekly place where parents can share solutions. That's actually one I've not thought of. So what she's done is that she's set up a game on her computer or on her phone, and then they've used another device to create a WhatsApp call with the child. So I think that's a great idea in terms of connecting your children together. WhatsApp calls can go up to 4 people. So up to 4 of your children's friends can use your phone if they're younger to phone their parents' friends' phones and then have a group call together. I think that's a very safe way to create and immediately create a safe place for your child's connection. In terms of the games that they're playing, so a 10-year-old playing Roblox. Roblox was a game that was created in response to Minecraft. Now, Minecraft, if you don't know about it, is a really great game if your children are on it, to make sure that they're playing the creative version of the game, or you can actually put on the peaceful version of survival. So there's two ways in which you play Minecraft. I would recommend playing survival on the peaceful setting, which means there's no enemies in the game, but it means they have to think a lot more than in the creative version. But specifically to this mum, Roblox is a lot less regulated than Minecraft, and it also has a lot more capacity for creators and generally adults to create worlds where children can play. So there's been stuff in the news about kind of pornographic worlds or areas where players engage with each other, obviously with chat context of text and audio that is very inappropriate to children. So I would steer children away from Roblox and more towards Minecraft survival on peaceful setting or on Minecraft creative setting. In terms of Fortnite, Fortnite is the case and perfect example of mainstream, adrenaline-based, endorphin-rushing gaming. So it's survival-based, so your child is trying to survive, which means that any memories they have from the day, let's say they're learning Afrikaans, and then they go from learning their 10 words in Afrikaans, they go in and start playing some Fortnite. At the end of the day, the child's brain will look at these 2 memories, the Afrikaans learning, conceptual, quite calm, quite thinking-oriented, and then we'll look at this Fortnite experience, which is all about flashing colors, survival, adrenaline, dopamine, and we'll prioritize the memory of this over the Afrikaans learning. So I recommend that parents limit gaming to, firstly, especially for a 10-year-old, to Minecraft and other things that are more functional and less fun. And I think Fortnite has an age restriction of 13. I'm just going to pull up Common Sense Media, and I'll put a link to that in our chat, in our YouTube stream. Because I do believe that Fortnite is restricted to age 13. But let's see. So it's 13 plus, and I think that's just an important first port of call for justifying to your child why they can't play the game. And it makes sense because developmentally, the child's brain from age even 10 onwards is doing what's called neural pruning. So it is deciding what is very important. And because Fortnite causes such a rush of hormones in the brain, it actually has a lasting negative impact if there is consistent habitual use. And I can unpack all the science of that probably in another episode of our digital parenting this week. And if you email me directly, I can send you some of that information. So in terms of that question, unless there's anyone else that wants to add anything to that question, I'm just monitoring the live stream comments. We got some great questions coming in there as well. Okay, yeah, so for ages 6 and 10, really here, I think as a parent, you need to think about when you need screen time the most to help you get through the day. So if you've got a remote working job, ideally the kids are going to be on an online learning program with a tutor. And this is also an important distinction between screen time, is that if you can guarantee that your child is in a learning experience with a facilitator or a teacher, educator on the other side of the camera, you can trust that they will stay at their desk and do the work for an hour or however long the lesson is. So keep your eyes open for lessons that you'll be able to buy to sit your child down to do something educative. For someone like, for parents on, someone that has a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, for the 6-year-old, we're really wanting to, if we are giving screen time, as a family, you'll decide what values are important to you, and there's nothing wrong with using screen time. We're not here to say what is right and wrong, we just want to give advice. But really, with a child of 6, you'd be wanting to steer them towards creative games. So games where they can doodle, where they can copy shapes, where they can draw pictures, where they can make sounds. I'll have a look around. I think I've even seen very simple ways of helping them understand coding. And these are the kind of apps and screen times that you want to supplement into your child if they are using screens at all. If they're not aware of them and you've kept it quiet and they're happy to play in the mud, well, that's great as well. But really, I think for a 6-year-old to help them understand that, well, not even help them understand, but only give them the option where they can be using creative play and developing their ability to be creative, as opposed to entering into a game and that game dictating how they play and what they do. With 6-year-olds, there's also quite a lot of emphasis placed on their tactile learning, so it's more important that they develop their what are called sensory motor skills and their emotional literacy, so their ability to describe how they feel, to ask for things, to do things for themselves, instead of learning that happens on screens, which can be quite conceptual. So the child may be copying out the letter A 100 times, but doesn't really understand the broader context of where they would use that information. So I think for younger children, it's important that you also spend time with them in the app that they're using. So what we're finding from some research done is that it's really the relationship between the mother and the parent and the child, and the questions that happen. Why is the rabbit doing this? How do you know that's what the bear wanted to do, or where are they going to go afterwards, or where were they before this scene? So helping your child think critically using the device or platform that you have as a means to facilitate this learning, and not leaving the child to do the learning in the machine, if that makes sense. And that would be my advice for a 6 or for any age, really. I think as we head towards the last few moments here, it's important that we understand good tech use. in this world, and I've got some connections to some international educators, and they're projecting out that remote learning is not going away after the lockdown, and because of the costs involved, it's going to really potentially change the education industry and the education approach. And so we need to understand that helping our children develop these very practical skill sets and empowering them to be able to take care of themselves as much as possible. And that's all the way from, telling your child that if they can do up their shirt, then they should do it themselves, and if they can feed themselves, then they should do that too. And really helping them understand that it's the practical skills that they're going to need now more than ever. And in terms of post-lockdown and where it looks like we're going in the next 6 to 12 months, for us to understand that remote learning and our ability to manage our own time, especially as children, our ability to sit down and focus on a task is now more important than ever. So I'm excited about all of the opportunities that there are to empower our children to get ahead of the tech curve and to use it to thrive. I think this live stream is just an example of the ways in which we can use technology to our advantage. And maybe the final words on this stream is that we are pro-tech and we are pro-balance. We are not here to scaremonger our children away from technology. We're simply trying to communicate to them that there is a savvy way to use that tech, and in fact, being tech savvy will put you ahead of the competition in every which way, given the digital world in which we live and are developing in. Okay, so unless there's any clear questions coming through on WhatsApp and to see via WhatsApp or YouTube, it doesn't look like it. So tonight we are going live again at 7 p.m. We want to give parents who are currently changing nappies or putting kids into remote classrooms the opportunity to engage with this discussion space. So we'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. and every Monday from now on at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. We look forward to seeing you at the next one, and thank you so much for joining us on this one today. Have a great day and see you tonight. All the best.